Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Anime Watch Club, a bi-weekly group discussion and review where the hosts of the What You Say Anime podcast nominate and vote on shows that we haven't seen or shows that hopefully lead to a great discussion. On today's episode, the What Are You Doing Here, Stepsis of the What You Say Anime podcast will be reviewing the 2019 anime Domestic Girlfriend. Let's meet today's host who gets stuck in dryers. First up, he's the sub BF to your Dom GF. We have Kat. Kat, how's it going?
I'm doing great. I just spent my whole workday listening to lectures about critical thinking from Duke, UNC, and the University of Illinois. So
I hope you can apply that to Domestic Girlfriend.
I was actually doing it because of Domestic Girlfriend.
Fantastic. Next up, it's National Dog Day, but the only grooming he will do is for his puppy. We got Jay. Jay, how's it going?
Hello. It's going pretty all right. To get into character for this, I took on the role of a teenage boy and I punched a hole in the wall since I'm leaving this place and I don't.
Shout out to Simone for the modeling of said hole.
All jokes aside, I did not do that. I just want to clarify that.
I'm sure our audio listeners will appreciate that. Our first moderator of the night, with his love of NTR, it surprises nobody he wants this show on his Mount Rushmore of anime. We have Miles. Miles, how's it going?
You stole my bit, bro.
Oh,
I was gonna
sorry,
say,
step bro.
I was gonna say, to quote the great philosopher, me, NTR is art.
Wow, don't be that full of yourself, my man.
Yeah, well, it was just to play on how I've been doing the Uma Musume stuff more than anything. But no, I'm excited to talk about this and why it's art.
Yes.
So
there's no Pat tonight, so it's just you. Pause.
I am a creature of habit.
No, for sure. I did too. I was like, oh yeah, this is where Pat's supposed to talk, right?
That's
okay.
Pat.
Oh goodness. Okay. So it's just me today. Just so let's do our first impressions with minimal to no spoilers for Domestic Girlfriend. Kat, you have what some people would consider the honor of going first.
This is absolutely an honor for today because Domestic Girlfriend is one of the shows I've been extremely excited to talk about because it's such a dumpster fire. So my first impressions of the show, all the way back when I first watched it, it was my first introduction to shows like this. And the thing is, I know that a lot of people love shows like this, including Miles, Preston, shout out to you, and like Scum's Wish, things like that. Like, it's super fun to watch these trash shows that just continually gets worse and worse as it goes along, but in a good way. For me personally, I find these shows atrocious. Not atrocious because they're not atrocious in a critical sense, but atrocious in an emotional sense, because I don't like when this happens in person, and I've had several situations when stuff like this has happened in my life, and I'm not a huge fan of it. Not the stepbrother thing, but like just messy relationships and stuff like that. And I'm not
I'm winking for the audio listeners.
The only stepsister I have is literally, well, actually, she's my half sister, and she's like 4. No, so, but yeah, like shows like this really take a toll on me emotionally. But this show just has a little bit more emotional intelligence where I'm okay with it. And I would recommend it to most people for all the wrong reasons.
I like that. Okay. Jay, what are our first impressions here?
Yeah, so honestly, I went into this show not really knowing what to expect. I had heard it talked about a lot, but I didn't really ever get context for what was going on in the show. Just I knew that it was controversial in many ways, that it was discussed pretty heavily in our community and friend group in general, and that it was dramatic. I used to confuse it with, I think, what was it, Girlfriend? I used to confuse those two quite often. So I went into this and I watched it, and I thought that honestly, in the first episode, I thought that the way it started off was actually pretty interesting with like them sleeping together and like that sort of drama behind it. I really enjoyed that aspect of it. Like I thought that it was covering it in a pretty realistic way when it was talking about that, which didn't prepare me at all for how it would spiral along later. I think that the beginning lures you into a false sense of security in many ways. There's some tropes there that are there in the beginning that kind of serve as warning signs, but when you see them, it's kind of like if there was like a plane crash that happened like 10 miles up the road from you, and like you see like a small piece of debris fall onto the ground from it, from the fire, the toxic waste fire that is going on in the background. And that's how I feel about him saying he has like a crush on his teacher and all of that business. I thought that that was sort of the first piece of toxic debris falling onto my car's like windshield, and I just kind of like, swerve a bit, and I'm like, oh shit, that was scary, but we move on, not knowing what's going to be in the future.
I love
So,
that.
yeah, thank you. So that's my way of saying I'd recommend it. Based off of what I knew at the time, I would recommend it. We'll see how it goes later on.
Pete.
So yeah, I watched this show 5 years ago, and I remember watching it and having like a really good time. But then, after watching a couple hundred anime, you kind of forget things. So then this was my rewatch, and then as soon as I look up Domestic Girlfriend, it said, "Did you want to watch the uncensored version?" I'm like, "Oh yeah, that's right. This show has an uncensored version. That's how this type
That's
of show
all
is."
It was on High Dive.
Yeah,
Let me tell you. I
yeah,
didn't have
so-
the option.
Yeah, I was like, "Oh, that's right. There are titties in this show." I completely forgot that they showed that in this, because the first time I watched it, I think the uncensored came out either later or I skipped it. But
I think it came out later.
Yeah, something like that. But this is the type of show where I think almost if you're like of age, if you're like 18, if you're like 16 plus, maybe, I think everybody should watch this show. I think whether you think it's a 2, whether you think it's a 10, I think this is a really good show to sort of broaden or not broaden your horizons, because I think that this could lead people down a road of anime that could. Now, I'm not gonna say problematic, but it's a lot of fun in a certain way, and I think people should find this out, because just like yin and yang, if you want to know if something's good, you got to know if something's bad, and then vice versa. So I think however you view this show, it should be in your library, so you have a good vice of understanding like these type of shows, and then where to gauge your rating scale on these type of shows. I would legit say I recommend the show to every single person who's like 16 plus. I think it's that type of show.
Okay, good. I would recommend this show to everyone because it is good. It is a good show. It is soundly constructed. There are fun literary references in here. Dare I say, the employment of things such as foreshadowing and, I don't know, probably another literary device. I'm not really sure. Symbolism,
Yeah.
probably.
The hero's journey.
The hero's
found family.
No one
Entering
goes.
the cave.
No one goes through. This is Plato's cave,
Yes.
and in this video essay, I will explain.
Who's the light?
Yeah, I think this is. I don't know. I had a good time. I think this is good. The sex scene was interesting to me in the first episode, Pete, because I feel like anime doesn't really have sex scenes. It has like
Agreed.
a lot of sexy, sort of weird voyeuristic shot sort of things, but this was like just like a sex scene, and like the only thing that I remember having that off the top of my head is Afro Samurai, which is obviously like very Western inspired. So
Mhm.
basically, what I'm saying is, if you liked Afro Samurai, you'll like Domestic Girl.
Yeah,
Same
for sure. I get it.
demographic.
The parallels are there.
But no, I mean, I would recommend this. I genuinely think it's fun. Like, I don't know. I just love it when you get a bunch of terrible people and put them in like a room or a show or whatever, and then you like see what happens, right? and I kind of feel like that's what this show is, where there's like a lot of bad people, and then they all just give the same kid horrible advice
Yeah.
constantly. Like all the adult figures in this guy's life, and also he sucks too, but not as much as the adults in his life. Um, but yeah, let's get to talking about it. So, spoilers going forward, and I suppose there are some. But yeah, so the first thing that I thought we would do is just like talk about like the general chronology of the show, because like a lot of stuff does happen, and it's like pretty. I don't know. I guess I feel like the social interactions in the show are relatively complex. It's not hard to follow when you're watching, but I feel like when you're discussing about it like after the fact, it can get a little confusing. So we at the beginning we start with Natsuo, our fearless protagonist, who's at a mixer. He sleeps with this girl named Rui, and then they plan on never seeing each other again. But lucky for Natsuo, his dad is a very private man apparently, and is like, by the way, I'm getting married. Um, and Rui is the daughter of the woman along with his teacher, whose name is Hina, who Natsuo has the hots for. We later find out that Hina is in an extramarital relationship with I fucking love this show, with her old teacher from back when she was in school, and Rui and Natsuo team up together in order to sort of break that apart, and I guess they're able to. Through this and Natsuo's interactions with her friend Momo and some other things, Rui starts to develop actual feelings for her stepbrother. But unfortunately for her, her older sister / teacher of Natsuo also develops feelings for him, and he's already kind of in love with her. So they sort of start a love affair as well, while he kind of strings along Rui, is how I would say it.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I'm like pretty pro Rui, so I didn't know if this was like my bias or whatever, but like I feel like he wasn't great about any of this.
Yeah,
Um,
they're both flawed, but one's a bad person.
yeah. um, so he starts banging his teacher, who like kind of pretends to not want to bang her student for like 4 seconds. So she moves out, but then she leaves him the key, because she's the worst. And they keep banging, and then eventually they get caught, and then she moves away, and he writes a book. And that's
Don't forget, he gets pushed downstairs.
he does get pushed downstairs and breaks a leg, and then there are some bathing scenes and stuff, and then that I don't know. There's a lot of stuff.
Become a high school teacher.
Yeah, that's
really just continue the cycle.
Yeah. And then he of course will become a high school teacher and date someone that's in his class. Anyways, for this overall plot, I just want to ask, like, this is a very messy plot. Like, people are banging everyone. There are a lot of poor decisions made and stuff. We'll start with Kat. Kat, you've said you don't like this. You don't like it when it's kind of messy like this, and you're looking at someone and they're like, I could make the right decision, or I could not. And then they do the second thing.
Right. Exactly. I don't like that. It's so the thing is that the reason why I genuinely like the show is because typically when it comes to this show, the only really, really bad decisions that happen are when it comes to the main three. Like, and I'm going to reference another show here, Scum's Wish. Like, in Scum's Wish, they make the wrong decision and everybody gets affected. And I hate that so much. This show, the wrong decisions are kind of concentrated to our main three characters, and all of them, minus one person, are terrible people, and I'm okay with that. So I'm a Rui guy as well. So it pains me when Rui gets fucked over, but I love it when I see Natsuo and Hina just go through the fucking ringer.
Yeah, I think that is good. I think, I don't know, at some point I would like to work out my feelings on the Natsuo being a bad person or not, just because he is like I don't know. He's like a child and therefore is absolved from some amount of responsibility for the things he does.
Old enough to know better.
What?
And he is also being groomed as well.
I was going to say
Yeah.
I said old enough to know better, and I need to clarify. I don't blame him for Hina like grooming him. I don't blame him for that, but for how he treats like Rui and shit, I think he's old enough to know better because that's just basic morals.
Yeah,
that what he's doing is wrong.
That's super fair. Jay, what do you think about these kind of shows? These sort of messy, like love. It's not even like a love triangle, right? It's like a love dream catcher. It's all interconnected.
So basically, me and you have a mutual love of Degrassi, which has a lot of elements that could be considered similar to Domestic Girlfriend. Obviously, it's not quite as like, sexualized in many ways. Like there is sex, but it's done in a more like dramatic or educational way than titillating in this show. And I watched literally all of that besides like some of the original Degrassi. Like I've watched Junior High, Next Generation, Next Class, all that. But I don't know. When in anime form, I feel like oftentimes these aren't done super well. Like they show these wide, like even in this, right? You have this wide cast of characters to begin with, and many of them are just really underutilized.
Yeah, I do
compared to like the core three. To reference something that's airing this season, this is actually one of my slight concerns in Too Many Losing Heroines, where we have this wide cast of characters that kind of show up, but you can tell from like, the OP and just the general plot lines that it's going to be focusing on like three main girls, despite others being presented in a similar light. I feel like in this show, her friend, what was it, Momo?
Yep.
She's kind of in a similar boat where we have this really solid arc for her, this emotionally, like, really engaging arc with her. And then after that's done, she doesn't really show up all that often again. And I'm sure there are other characters that this happens to that I'm missing. But, like, I'm sure that a lot of people really enjoy the focus on, like, Hina and Rui. I just wanted there to be a little bit, like, I prefer if they're going to have, like, a wide cast to actually, like, utilize the cast, and maybe they do more after the anime ends, but with what we've got, they're just not. I feel like they're kind of tossed to the side after their little mini arcs are done.
Yeah, I do agree with that. I feel like Momo especially was sort of used as a vehicle to show why someone would be attracted to Natsuo as a human. Like, I think Natsuo handles his interactions with Momo relatively well. It shows that he's a kind and empathetic kind of guy. And Rui appreciates that. So I think it does good in there, but I also think Momo has like a great charisma, and I wish we had seen more of her and maybe given her like a little.
With how they used her, they basically could have had him like taking care of a guinea pig and shown the same thing.
Yeah, exactly. Like one of the little horrible dolls she makes or whatever. He just like nurses one of those things back to health.
Exactly.
I will say like really quick, the side cast that I do think the bar staff, I think they get a good highlighting and I love them.
Especially the lead bartender.
Yeah, he's amazing.
Yeah.
I wish we got to touch more on the Fumiya, the male best friend, I would say, of Natsuo. He was a good voice of reason, I thought, throughout the show, and I wish he was showcased a little bit more, sort of guiding them. I also this is like another reason why I think Natsuo is sort of like a bad person, is that he just like uses, it seems like he just like uses Fumiya's like place as like a hideout where like he's not there for him, he's just there to like as like a safe house from like his problems, and then Rui does the same thing. But like I really like the addition of him in the cast, and I wish we saw a little bit more of him because he was logical. Like he understands like, oh, you have the hots for the teacher has the hots for you. That's kind of cool, but also it's a fantasy, man. Like, please don't go further than that. And he's like, yeah, you're right, but I'm gonna do it anyway, type of thing.
Yeah, I agree with you on that, actually, Pete. I think that it is kind of meant to show how much of like and maybe they do that with Momo too in a way. Like maybe that's kind of the point, is meant to show like, Natsuo will use these people when he needs them.
Yep.
And then they do not exist to him or the viewer who is with him whenever he doesn't need to use them.
Yeah.
Kind of like I kind of like that. It's like going with the plot in a way too.
I think that's especially true because, you know, I don't know if this is like a hot take or not, but like I think the show portrays Natsuo's and Hina's relationship is mostly negative. Is like a bad thing that negatively affects people around them. And like his utter focus on it and need to like lie and use his friends in order to forward that is an example of that
Mhm.
in my opinion. I also like having like the otaku kind of nerdy friend who's just sort of reasonable and not like, I don't know, a joke. Like he's like a
so like egging them on type of thing.
yeah.
Yeah, if you watch Welcome to the NHK, you'll see the depths that this friend could sink to. Honestly, it could be pretty bad.
Yeah, he like lies about going to see Momo and stuff too. Like he uses, you know, he lies to a lot of people about things.
Mhm.
And you know, it's probably because he deep down understands the insanely problematic nature of his relationship.
Yeah, he knows what he's doing is wrong.
Yeah.
Like, but he just doesn't. Maybe he doesn't.
He loves.
I would say like he doesn't care, but he like kind of cares, but he also doesn't care at the same time.
Yeah, I think he's sort of like possessive in a way.
Mhm.
Like you can see like how he's like, "Don't leave me," like that sort of thing. Like he kind of forgets that she has like a life outside of him and like a family and wants and needs, you know, that sort of thing. Yeah, I don't know. I'm curious. I wish Pat was here so we could hear the take of a pro Hina person because I just without like obviously he, you know, he's got manga experience, so that would color it a bit. But I don't see how
Yeah.
you could genuinely side with her besides for having like being like she's a hot older lady
Yeah,
in the anime.
because it's like
Yeah, okay.
you
Go ahead.
Okay, because there's like two sides to this. I think because I think like a really good example with like Momo, where you know she has two absent parents. She uses, let's just say, sex as a way of getting that emotional need from people. Like she doesn't see sex as like the same way as other people, and I think like that's why I connected with like Momo as like a character who is like flawed, but like in her rationale, like I get it. Like I get why she's doing the things that she's doing.
Yeah.
Hina, I don't get it. Like the girls talked bad about her once because she was pretty, and like the boy asked to copy her homework, and then all the girls got jealous, and she's like, "Oh, I guess I have no friends now." And then this led to like a spiral of like falling for a teacher, having an affair, and then sleeping with a student. Like her actions, I can't like justify. Like I don't see like the logic in which she's using, other than she's just a bad person.
Momo feels like actually affected by her material conditions,
Yeah.
whereas Hina feels like she is more so trying to justify it.
Yeah.
And the material conditions don't match what her reality is.
She's like gaslighting herself. Like it's okay if I do this because of all these things that happened to me before. It's like no.
You know, well, because I thought when they were going through Hina and like her teacher, I was like, oh my god, she's gonna sleep with her teacher, and like that's gonna explain why she's sort of okay with these interactions because it happened to her, and like maybe she's processing through that, and it's like if I do it and I think it's acceptable, maybe it was okay what happened to me, but that's not what happened.
Nope.
The guy was like, didn't do anything to her, and then they got together like 6 years later or whatever.
Her fourth year
like,
in college. It's like she was 22.
Yeah. It was like, you know, they hadn't seen each other for like 4 years or something. Like, I feel like that's more or less okay.
Yeah.
I don't know. You know.
Well, he was married, but yes.
Well, yeah. But I mean, cheating on your significant other is bad. It's not sleeping with your underage student bad, though.
There are levels to this.
Yeah.
It's not cheating on your wife with a minor, man.
A minor.
I don't know. It's a very interesting thing because I feel like Hina is just a very insecure, like, person who just doesn't feel valued at all. Because like, there's definitely some like if you're dating someone who's married to someone else and they're like sort of hemming and hawing about getting their divorce, and like, you know, there's this kid that it loves you more than life itself because he's a stupid 16-year-old or whatever. Like, I guess I understand the initial feeling of like, it is nice someone is like caring this much about me, but what you got to do, Hina, right? So you need to take those feelings and not act on them, and then go to therapy.
Suppress them.
Yeah, exactly.
Keep them inside.
I wish we knew more about like what their home life was like before the marriage, because I feel like that would give us
her dad cheated on her mom's. Like, if anything, that would be like, I feel like the opposite effect of where like you would be so loyal to. Well, I guess that's why she was so loyal to Shu, was like she fell in love and didn't want to break that bond, but also like
so she was being she was conflicted.
Yeah, but like also like
misusing her influence.
Exactly. I do want to say, like, I think that's like a beauty of Hina's character, where in a lot of shows you would have like a bad main character, but you surround them in like a situation where like they don't have consequences of their actions, or maybe it's portrayed in a different way where it's like, yeah, they're kind of bad, but like it's whatever. I think they do a really good job, kind of like what you said with like their relationship, where I think the show did a really good job to showcase that Hina is just a bad person, like morally gray, selfish person. And I think that that's awesome. Like, I'd like that they didn't like try to like gaslight me into thinking that because
her.
Yeah, exactly. Because or like or Momo or something like that. Like, she's just bad. And I love that. It's great.
It's kind of like basically the antagonist of like Superman. He's just an insane person.
Wait, is he? I don't know the context.
There's a lot of Superman villains.
Oh, okay.
The one from Man of Steel with never mind.
Okay. That guy.
General Zod, I think.
Yes, General Zod. That's what I'm thinking of.
Yeah, fair. So yeah, I think that's, you know, what's another interesting thing is that
Hina is like General Zod.
Yes. In order to justify herself as being part of an affair, right? She had to say, like, if I love someone, it is worth it to break my moral code. Like, she had to take that step and justify that to herself.
Yes.
And really, that's the same action she would take to justify dating Natsuo, right?
Yeah.
So, like, you know, not saying that these two actions are like equal or anything like that, but it, like, I think we see her doing the justification thing for the decision she ends up making very early in a way that's sort of like an organic thing, where if she has feelings for someone or whatever, it is justified no matter what she does, you know, through that sort of effort. You know, I guess let's just talk about characters now, because we're doing this with Hina, because I also think it's interesting with Natsuo. Natsuo really likes books, right? He has like a very romantic view of things, and like, it's an interesting view as someone who like really likes media and everything, that like, I think that affects him in like a negative way, where his head are in those books basically like all the time, and like he wants to do things because they feel like a story almost. It was sort of the impression that I got. I think this is from the manga, but I was doing some research on like the literary references and everything, and there's a conversation between him and Rui, and I don't remember this from the anime, but I think it sort of like sums this thought up, where they're talking about Dazai, and Rui is like, isn't it bad that he killed himself? And he's like, I don't know. It's like sort of like a romantic, sort of tortured artist kind of deal, you know, which to me makes me think that like he likes these idealized versions of things more than an actual tangible real thing itself. And I just thought that was like an interesting thing, because you can see how someone like that could get sucked into this entire scenario.
He's a Chunibyo. Like he wants his life to be like a messy romance novel, so he plays his life out like a messy romance novel, and then he goes and writes a messy romance novel. Like it's like he is a Chunibyo living his
basically
novel.
Jughead from Riverdale.
Yes.
I'll take your word for it.
Except for
Yeah.
Well, except with the Archie having
yeah,
sex with your teacher angle.
yeah. Jughead just, dates Betty and
Becomes an alcoholic.
I haven't got that far yet.
Okay.
I stopped before Archie goes to fight in World War II.
He gets a haunted typewriter.
Um,
That would have made the show a lot more interesting if Natsuo had a haunted typewriter. Honestly.
every show would be better if there was like an unnecessary supernatural element to it that like wasn't necessarily even real, but like drove someone insane. It's just like this typewriter's haunted, and it's like there's not really any evidence for that other than their point of view.
Me, when Hina gives me the key to her apartment, going into her house and moving her furniture.
Yes,
to the
just
right
moving
every single
everything to the
day.
right. Yeah.
Side note, how Hina sleeps? Did that freak anybody out?
How does she
She
sleep?
slept
What,
like she
face
was
down,
dead.
ass up?
No, no.
Well,
no.
she wasn't sleeping, buddy.
Wait, what do you guys mean? Like, what would she have been doing?
When Natsuo goes into the apartment and Hina's sleeping, and she's sleeping like she's dead. She's fully clothed, not under the blankets, and then like sleeping like a pencil.
Okay, there is like unironically a lot of hints that Hina's going to fucking die. I don't know.
Oh,
but like,
oh my god, you are, dude. I know a manga spoiler. Oh my god. Oh, dude, this show's a 10. Oh my god.
It's like I unironically, right? Like, okay, there's like I genuinely think that they're like Hina tries to kill them both. Like, I don't think Hina was kidding when she said that we should kill ourselves.
Bro,
I think that was her being like, look, I'm
That's
down
also
if you're down.
Dazai's thing is that he died with his lover.
Yo, anyone else getting goosebumps right now? This show is insane.
Well, this is legitimate. I talked about like the foreshadowing. So I don't. Jay did spoil me on some stuff in the manga, which is fine. But like,
I was doing it to make fun of Pet. You see,
I feel like we could talk manga spoilers.
The
show's been up for 5 years.
I do want to read it though,
Okay,
because I'm genuinely interested in this, and I don't know. I feel like there's a high chance Hina tries to kill herself in some way, and
bro, this show is genius.
Okay. Because I typed it out. I think I typed out my perfect ending was a double suicide.
Yeah,
and
but I ignored half the things you say. So
fair enough.
My bad.
But that was because just like the conversations about like Dazai, like even the ones just in the anime, and then also Hina saying that we should both kill ourselves. I was
a pretty big one.
But Hina saying let's kill ourselves was a big hint to me that she might try to kill herself in the future.
Wait, maybe she said let's kill, ourselves.
Yes,
she wants to go on a murder spree.
She wants to go on a murder spree, which would that would be way hotter.
If they school dazed it,
yeah.
That could be a second novel.
School days.
Isn't that just Mirai Nikki?
No.
I thought Mirai Nikki was like a survival.
It's like a death game.
They do kill people.
Oh yeah, they kill a lot of people.
Together as like a couple.
Oh, I think I misheard the question.
It's okay. Anyways, I don't know. That's what I thought. I was also reading about like Ruri is named after a book called like I Am a Cat. And it's like a black cat's interactions with like humans, and like a large part of it is her judging like a scandalous relationship, like the cat judging that between like two people the cat knows or whatever. I don't know. There just does feel like that whoever wrote Domestic Girlfriend, and let me give them credit because they fucking deserve it.
Yeah.
It is by
thank you.
Kei Sasuga.
Okay, Kei Sasuga like knows their classic Japanese literature and like put in references that make sense for these characters, which I think is cool. I don't know the literature very well, right? Like I'm reading like different Reddit comments and stuff. That's how I have this. I'm not gonna be able to make any of these calls besides Dazai killing himself for myself. And that's only because every anime that mentions Dazai is like, did you know that he killed himself in a double suicide? And it's like, I did. This is actually the 7th time you told me that in this episode. But like, I don't know. I just think it's really interesting. I thought the characters were laid out in such a way that you could sort of see this happening. What, even what just happened in like, because like, was anyone surprised that he ended up with Hina?
No, not really.
No.
Yeah.
The Rui stuff all felt like
Rui
in the
loved him.
moment.
Yeah.
Like he never really like. I mean, there
was
was
never doing anything like super emotional for her that like was on the same
Yeah.
level as the Hina stuff. Like
He-
it felt like
yeah.
something. It unironically felt like, oh, he's doing this for his stepsister, like or
As
his
a favor.
friends.
As a nice little favor.
Yeah, they're roommates.
I'll make it you if you want.
And also, he's dense, but like Rui like drops hints all the time, and he like, oh, like I see what you're doing, and I'm going to actively ignore it. And then Rui's like, pout, and then but then Hina does something, and he's like, oh, I totally get what you're saying. It's like Rui was doing the same shit, bro.
Yeah.
I don't think he's dense. I genuinely don't.
No, I mean, he's like,
when,
what's the word? He's like actively
oblivious.
Yeah, not even oblivious, but like he's pretending to be dense.
Yeah, he's pretending for sure.
He's having selective hearing.
Yeah.
What about when Rui fucking wore the wig? That was some weirdo shit. Wasn't
That
it?
made me so happy. Because why? Who fucking knows? But like him because I mean I genuinely and like I need to work through this because this kid was groomed or whatever, but I hate this kid. And like him to get so happy to just be destroyed made me so happy. And like I also liked it because what would that do to Rui? Oh my god. Talk about a fucking emotional haymaker. Jesus Christ. Like poor fucking
honestly, Rui should have moved out.
Yes.
Like
absolutely.
And what about their parents? What are they doing, man?
Rui should have blown them up for their parents. Their parents are just like, oh, we have children and they're great and we're having a good time. And it's like, because I don't think anyone thinks their kids are fucking, right? Like,
I don't know if I was. They were doing they were literally doing Life with Derek type shit.
Like this entire show. I fucking hated the parents because they like. There's so many fucking hints. There's so many fucking hints. They are fucking, and they just.
I'm gonna give him a.
I think Rui should have at least. She should have mentioned the house key. Well, did Rui know? She didn't know.
No, she didn't know. Because like when why would Rui know? If Rui had seen that, she would have put it together. Rui had to put it together after Natsuo lied to her twice.
I feel like Rui is like low key a little dumb, despite the writing ability. Like
I think
that was.
I took it as she didn't want to believe
she wants. Yeah, that's exactly what I was gonna say. Or she's just in huge amounts of denial.
Yeah, that's what I felt.
Here's my thoughts on this. Natsuo is making out with you and doing handsy stuff with you. You are Hina's sister. Hina is an adult and probably not sleeping with her younger brother. Like, you might know Natsuo loves Hina, but like, why do you, like? I don't think she would ever because she trusts.
But she knows about her sister doing the extramarital affair with a teacher and everything. Maybe she just assumes her. Maybe she. I know. I'm not saying it does. Let me finish. Maybe she just assumes she'll know better. Like that's what I'm thinking. Maybe she just assumes, oh, she got groomed when she was in a vulnerable state in her life. Maybe she'll know better. Psych.
Yeah. It was like, I don't know. The other teacher like didn't even really groom her. He just like helped her, had a crush on her, I guess. Yeah. Then they went away for 4 years, and then they met up again. And like, there's probably something a little weird about that. But yeah,
it's still a weird power dynamic. Like, I wouldn't go and date one of. Like, I have actually seen this happen. People who were in band with me, one of our. I don't think he works for the band anymore, but he dated a few girls when they went to college afterwards. And like, I just don't think it's like a good power dynamic to have.
I agree. However, I guess at some point there's enough like in theory, at some point there's enough distance where, you know, if he's 28 and then she starts working when, you know, she's 23, then like
Hina is also obviously not of sound mind.
Yeah.
Like, I think that adds on to it. She has her mental fortitude and emotional maturity is like not up to snuff with people of her age. Like, even if you look at somebody with a fucked up past, like the fucking Yakuza bartender, like he's the most emotionally level person there, and he's literally murdered people before, probably.
Probably.
Yeah.
It's strongly hinted at. That he's
Yeah,
killed
for
people.
sure.
He's I don't know. He's super likable. Also, like, I don't know if I've ever seen like an openly gay supporting character like that in anime. Like, I thought that was
Oh, you should watch
kinda
Skate
neat.
the Infinity.
Okay. I won't. But
You should watch Golden Kamui.
Oh yeah.
Or-
I
Or
have.
Skip and Lover.
True.
Is there an openly gay
There's a
side character?
trans character.
Yes.
Yeah,
Alright.
which I have seen,
Uh,
but that's different.
Yeah, I was like,
Similar umbrella.
yeah.
Fair enough.
As a bisexual man, I'll give it the okay.
Okay.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Then we're good. Then I have seen this before, and I'm a liar. But I don't know. I just liked the whole character. I liked the bar people. Like, he was super fun. I liked how he fed Rui his story. I love that Rui won it. I love that she won the literary thing. Fuck you, Natsuo.
The dialogue that they had when they were like having the conversations with Shu and they were like giving like their like play-by-play, I thought that was super fun because like I 100% did that when I was like working at, you know, where there's like people in like that public area where like you're forming your own dialogue with your coworkers about what's happening. It's like, like this is good. That was really fun.
Spilling the tea.
Yeah.
Yep.
This is a question I wanted to ask people. Have you ever seen someone just get continuously gut punched in a romance like this more than Rui must have?
Ooh, great
There's
question.
probably if I thought about it, I bet there are a couple of secondary girls that this has happened to, but I don't know if it's been as visceral as. And also knowing the spoilers I know for the manga, I'm pretty sure it doesn't get much better for Rui.
No,
it won't get better for anyone because
it gets better for Momo.
Involved.
Yeah, Momo has a
Good
fantastic ending.
Momo, yeah.
Shout out to Momo. Did she never talk to any of these people?
She gets married to somebody in the friend group who isn't.
Oh, is it?
He's not introduced in the anime.
Oh, he's
not. He's not.
I don't think so.
I thought it was okay.
It's
I
not.
was hoping
it's
it was
not
Alex.
the. It's not the. No, it's not Alex.
Oh,
okay.
I thought Rui should have got him with Alex.
Anyone should have dated Alex.
Yeah.
Alex is dope.
Alex is a nice guy.
Thanks.
Am I biased because?
Yeah, you're right. He's not introduced yet. My bad.
He's an American, and I was like, this is a perfect representation of what an American is
blonde
like.
hair, outgoing.
Yeah. Right, I just sort of meant the
outgoing.
attitude, but I don't know. I thought it was fun. He's just like riding his bike in the school for some reason. Just I don't know. Just the stuff that like you love your sister more than like anything. She betrays you. You like this guy who's also your stepbrother, and he betrays you, and then they just do it like 6 more times, and it's just like the entire time, like insinuating that you have some sort of an opportunity.
And then your sister just leaves. Like she just dips after doing all that.
She leaves. She's like, sorry, I can't talk to Natsuo anymore. So bye, Rui.
Yeah.
Can't even talk to you.
I'm not telling you where I'm going in case you tell him.
Yeah, that's it could because like they just transferred her to another
File
school.
a missing persons report, bitch.
Yeah. And then you mentioned the hair thing, and we're flipping back here, but she cuts her hairs like Rui's.
Yeah, I mentioned that when me and Sonora, she was like, "Oh, they switched hair."
I know, I loved it. I don't know because it was so it was so great. And it's just like she was just like, Momo gave me this wig to see if I would like my hair long. It's just the show is art. Okay, well, since Pat is not here, we unfortunately can't hear the pro Hina side of things.
I'm fine with that.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
I'm just like curious if it's anything other than like she's older and has big boobs. Cause like I get it, but like, it depends on how you're looking at this. Yeah.
Like
I can't think of like a legit justified reason. Like
it really is just she's hot.
Yeah, like if she was a dude, would you be saying the same thing? Like, I don't know.
I feel like And I'm not saying this is about Pat,
people
but I
do
feel like
defend some guys that do some
100%.
stuff.
I'm not saying this is about Pat, but I feel like the people who would be pro Hina are the same type to like see that in the news and go, "I wish that would have happened to me when I was that age."
Or maybe
Like-
like maybe she actually like reflects on the things that she does later in like the manga and gets some form of redemption, because I don't think she's like irredeemable. I just think if we're strictly talking the anime, she is a garbage person.
Yes.
Yeah. Agreed.
Yeah,
I don't know what happens
yeah,
in the
I get-
manga.
With the thing, I could see a world where like Rui could be a worse person or something, because I could see Rui being driven to make some decisions that are possibly bad.
Hmm.
But like, I just can't see a world where I'm like Team Hina, like more just like Team like Fire, House Fire,
Yeah.
or whatever.
Yeah.
I've touched on this briefly, and I know we've talked about it, but I did want to talk about like the messaging, because there's always a thin line between these things, because like some animes will have like similar themes, and the message will just be like, "This is dope." But like my interpretation of this was that it was viewing all of this negatively. Is everyone on board with that? Does anyone differ?
Yeah.
Does anyone want to expand upon that?
So like I do think it's viewed really negatively, and I also think it's viewed like negatively in the light towards the end, where Natsuo like kind of semi proposes the Hina, where it's like, okay, this is like, we know this is taboo, like we know this is wrong, but if we like really love each other and I marry you, then it's fine. Like, and I was like, no, that's bad. Like that's bad. You shouldn't. It's like it gave me the same vibes as like, well, we'll love each other if we have a kid together or something like that. Where it's like, no,
Yeah.
no, you should
That's
have a
how
kid.
you fix a relationship, by
Yeah,
having
yeah.
a child.
Oh, is that? Oh, that's
Yeah.
why I'm single. Oh, I got the mixed messaging wrong. Oh,
Yeah, gotta.
all right. I'm gonna text my ex-girlfriend and be like, you know what? We should have had that kid. Okay, my bad.
Just text Tori.
No, but like I guess in that light, I thought it was viewed like in a way in like a really negative form of a relationship of like solving the issue at hand through something extreme like marriage, where that is not the correct action you should take. It should be the exact opposite. You should not be together at all instead of forever.
I thought, okay, can I talk about why I thought he did that?
No.
Okay. Yeah, you were gonna say something.
Overruled.
To me, that reeked to me. So like Hina does struggle with the fact that what she's doing is horribly unethical.
Yep.
Throughout this time, she gives into it with basically any amount of pressure, but like she does seem to have conscious issues with it.
Kind
To
of.
me, that yeah. To me, this was Natsuo understanding or thinking how ephemeral this scenario is and wanting to solidify it, because he is that in love with Hina that he's like I cannot lose her no matter what.
Mhm.
If we get married, then the things that would bring us down, like say we forgot to close the blinds because we're the worst people at having a secret affair ever, and we can't just like keep it in our pants for the school trip, then like those won't matter as much because they're married, and like she can't just leave him like she did. You know, it was sort of my thought. It was his attempt to nail it down, to rush it, to get it completely set in concrete, because he understands all of the risks in their relationship. And I kind of think her general apprehension from completely solidifying things and everything is due to her. I think she wanted it to blow up to some extent, because I think she felt guilty.
Yeah, I do
don't know.
too.
Yeah. Okay.
No, I don't think in the way that it happened.
No.
But
no,
I
just
do,
somehow.
somehow, some way. I think
yeah.
she'd rather have like Ruri be the one who like lights the bomb instead of like a tabloid type thing.
Yeah, I think she probably wanted to keep her job, but
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
is-
So, for me personally, I feel like this show doesn't just like, it's not just pointing it at the end. It's also pointing it out to. It's also pointing at the fact that this whole relationship situation is a bad thing throughout the show, and I feel like it shows it through not just Rui, which is one of the things that it like where Pete, you were like, Rui's trying to hint at something, and then he doesn't really react, and then Hina does the same thing, and then he like falls out of her heels for her. Like that thing is kind of to me a sign that the show knows that people want to root for Rui because Rui's a better person, flawed and a little dumb, but she is a much less deplorable person than Hina. Also, with the existence of Momo as well, with how Natsuo is treating Momo and trying to point that this is not a like that relationship is not a thing that they need to work with. I feel like it's pointing towards, hey, this is this is not something that I want, and not just because it's a bad thing for you, but also because it is genuinely just a it's pointing at a positive situation compared to his own situation where he's going on now. Does that make sense?
Yeah, sure.
Not really.
Okay, cool.
I missed it, but that's okay. Luckily, this is recorded and we can dissect it after the fact. Does anyone else have anything they would like to talk about before I guess we wrap up?
Did we get everything in your questionnaire?
I guess I did ask, do we want more shows like this? Because I feel like we don't get a ton. And
Ooh.
I
Yeah.
said, why do we say yes to that? Was the second part of the question.
I would say yes if it's shown in a light similar to this, where it's not pussyfooting around like whether somebody is like right or wrong, whether someone's good or bad, that type of thing. I think we get it with shows where when there is drama involved, it's not to the level of this. It's very light. And I do think if we take a more approach where people are I'm not even necessarily say flawed because there are flawed characters in a shit ton of anime where we have like legit bad people shown as bad people. I think that it would be more to it, especially if it's like they can also like redeem themselves and show qualities of their actions.
Yeah.
I would really like to see that more in anime and not gaslighting me into thinking a specific character is doing something correctly.
Yeah.
I'm alluding to a certain character.
Kat, you feel like you'd be on the fence here. So let's have a compliment sandwich and hear you, and then we'll go to Jay.
So the thing about this show and the reason why I like it is because it's like I said, the bad decisions tend to be fairly centered around the main three, right? And I'm okay with that. With Scum's Wish, which is another show that is in the similar vein, it doesn't like center around those three. It spills out and it becomes even more messy. And I feel like with shows like this, it will just spill out more and more people will it will get bigger and more people will be dragged into it, which is something that I feel will emotionally impact me in a negative way throughout the show. And the reason why I'm not a huge fan of that is because a lot of the times these shows are so interesting. It's hard to stop watching a dumpster fire. Like that. It's hard to stop watching a train wreck. And at the end of the show, I just want to sit back and watch some Eurocamp and drink some hot cocoa because I feel bad. And like that's literally the only reason why I'm on the fence. Like if I didn't feel as bad, I would love these shows.
Mhm.
But it's so much of an emotional detriment to me that I'm not I love to hear what the show does as a story, but watching it makes me feel terrible.
I crave that feeling. Maybe my favorite TV show ever is BoJack Horseman, and there was a part in the second season where he was about to absolutely fuck up, and I had to pause it and just sit by myself for like 5 minutes to like come to terms with what was about to happen. And I will always remember that and love
Mhm.
that. Jay, what is your thought on having more shows like this?
Yeah, I agree with it, but I think that I'm the exact opposite opinion of Kat. I would love to, because I want to see it not contained. I want to see it spill out because this sort of thing, especially because it's like literally people who are in pretty close proximity within their friend groups. It's affected by them being at the same school, etc. Obviously, I think that it should be shown as something that affects multiple people and groups of people because these shows are meant to be, and in real life, these things are messy.
Mhm.
And you should
Yep.
show that the mess gets on people who, like, there are innocent bystanders who get affected by stuff like this. And I
Yep.
think that a lot of other shows do a good job of showing that. Whereas in this show, like, even like the mother and father, like, they're just not really affected by what's happening in the plot at all. And I don't know, I feel like that's something that would generally be affected by this sort of thing. Like, literally, the majority of the household is affected by it. And then you just have the parents not, you know, doing anything basically.
They kind
So
of figure it out at the end. After.
yeah, no, you're not
But
wrong
I
there.
think I do agree, like, going into that would be very interesting, right? Like, how do you handle that as parents?
Yeah, I think that. Yeah, I would like to just see. I think it would be interesting to have a show like this where this sort of thing happens early on, where they get caught. Like, we kind of start like in media res with it, where it's like a cool thing that's happening in the first 3 episodes, and then it goes to shit, and it's dealing with the
Mhm.
fallout, picking up the pieces. I think that would be interesting, and it would be an interesting thing if we ever got like a second season of this.
Just to add on real quick on this one, more like for as messy as this show is, I do think it's kind of grounded. I do think that this is a show that would something like this could absolutely happen in real life. I think my issues with I'm not going to go into it, but like the manga spoilers, I think it's a little too like anime esque where the situations kind of get exaggerated. I think you could still take like real life scenarios, and if you wanted to make it messy and grounded, you still could. I think it's something with like like if Momo got like pregnant or something, I think that could be like a really cool plot line with like all the sex that she has. I think that could be like a realistic drama, messy situation in the show and still be grounded and not sort of what we see going forward in the manga. So if we have more shows like that where it can take messy subjects and messy like situations, but still make it what the domestic girlfriend is, I think it would suit really well in this form of media and do very well.
Yeah, no, I think that's good. I would love that. I feel like we need more messy stuff in
Mhm.
anime. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Everyone dates one person and they get married, and it's just like, nah.
There's so many messy
Um,
topics, like specifically, I should say specifically to Japan, but like highlighted from Japan that you could easily throw into this type of show. That would work. I would love like a sugar daddy would be sick. If one of the characters had like a sugar daddy, oh, that'd be.
Yeah.
But before we wrap up,
okay.
Miles, can we do an appreciation for the LP?
Oh
Uh,
yeah, holy heck.
Jesus.
Thank you.
The
Yeah,
OP
the
had
OP is
no good reason to be this good. If
That
someone
good.
said that this is the best OP of all time, I would say valid.
sure.
This OP is
Yeah.
incredible.
It is.
Incredible.
Yeah, God, it is really good. You know, this particular season of anime that we watched the show during, which is summer 2024. I haven't really liked a lot of
There's like
OPs.
one that I like,
Yeah.
I think.
I've been
Maybe
doing a lot
two.
of skipping.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah,
like
I don't.
two or
I
three.
like.
There's-
Yeah, like
Yeah.
pseudo harem is okay, and magical girl is like
Shoshuman, shout out to
okay.
Shoshuman.
Shoshuman is good, but it's also
Fucking
not
They-
like
Elusive
banger.
Samurai is good.
Yeah, it's not like it's not,
This one's raw. This one's raw.
raw.
Yeah. This one's
Yeah.
so good. Her voice is amazing, and the things that she does with it, like it sounds like she's trying to get to a point where she's almost teasing at tearing her vocal cords at some points. It's so fucking good.
Ugh, and just like the playing the piano like in the
The
was so
rain.
good.
It's gonna break the keys. It's so good.
I wanted her to be a secret fifth girl.
Fifth girl, yeah, 'cause-
she's too
Yeah.
good. She's too good.
There was a secret third girl, and then there was a secret fourth girl, and it blew my mind. I was just like, oh my god, I need more of this. I feel while we're just adding on last minute things, the creepiest thing a teacher did in this
Oh, the chin
was
tilt?
when the what?
Oh, when the lit teacher grabbed Natsuo, was like lift up his chin and act like he was gonna kiss him. He's like, "Okay, you're in the lit club now," or whatever. And I was like,
No, it's when he told him to kiss the other girl.
Oh, that was weird as fuck too.
That was so creepy.
That was really weird.
I was like, why are you doing that? What are you getting out of this?
Oh, I see you're a good person because you didn't do what I said.
Yeah, that was really weird. And also, I'm not convinced that they weren't making out. And I could read every chapter of the manga, and they wouldn't, because he was also weird about going to his house. They have to be making out and fucking. Like, because he just says to Hina, "Oh, you got caught." Not like, "What the fuck were you doing?" Anyways,
This is a normal thing for people at this school to do.
Yeah,
at Little St. James High School.
Yeah. The least creepy teacher is the one that's like, "I'll be wearing my Speedo." That's
yeah. So the OP, just really solid stuff. I super enjoyed it. It really got me hyped to watch it when it first played. Actually, I was like, okay, well, this is never getting skipped, and it never did. It never once did.
Not a single time. It's very good. So let's go to our final thoughts and score. I guess I'll start with me because Pat normally starts with me. I like the show like a lot. I thought it was good. I think it's like genuinely well constructed, and I think it's very entertaining. So I'm gonna give this an 8 out of 10. Yeah, and if like I find out that Hina kills herself or something, I'll raise it because that would be good. Good art. Kat, what about you?
This show is one of the only shows of this type that I genuinely enjoy because it doesn't give me a bunch of like either secondhand embarrassment or make me feel terrible. And just the way that the characters act, like it makes me feel good when bad things happen to them, which helps me feel better about the show. And because of that, it is going to get a 6.
6. I feel like your heart is saying to give it a 20.
No, it is not. My heart is saying to give this a 3. Critically, I'm giving it a 6 because I'm taking into account my heart.
Okay, Pete, what do we got here?
Yeah, so I originally gave this show a 7, but after talking with you guys and rewatching it, there's some things I miss. I actually think that the show does really well. It was really enjoyable, like an entertaining watch the second time through as well. I think I'm with Miles. I think I'm gonna give this an 8. Like, I do think like it's flawed. I do think that there are some parts that are like actually bad, but I was really entertained. That's my number one thing with anime. If I'm entertained, it's probably going to get like at least a 7. So yeah, I'm gonna give it an 8.
And Jay.
Yeah, I thought that the show was like mostly fine. I don't think that it really had any one thing it accelerated at. Like, I don't think that there's any, besides how messy it is, I don't think there's really a ton to write home about on this. Which is why I'm glad that we actually managed to squeeze quite a bit of good discussion out of this. Good job, guys. But for me overall, I gave this a 5 out of 10, and that's what I'm going to give it here as well.
Okay.
I legit think any score 1 through 10 is acceptable for this show. Like, straight up.
Okay, that would bring our overall score to a 6.75, which is 0.1 higher than the mouse score.
Yeah, pretty damn close to its score.
6.5.
Yeah.
So we did pretty good, probably about as good as you could do with 4 people. Great. So with that, Miles will tell us what we're watching next week. Miles, what are we watching next week? Thanks for asking, Pat. So we have in third place, earning a second legacy point, Sing Yesterday to Me. Hooray. In second,
Nobody made any noise for a reason.
we have Rakugo Shinju earning its 3rd legacy point. And we will be watching Mobile Suit Gundam War in the Pocket.
Woo.
So,
The normie showed up.
Yep. Let's now move to what we are nominating for next week. Miles, what would you like to nominate for next week? I'm nominating the not aired anime girls band cry. Girls band cry because someone came into our Discord, said nominate it, and I please people.
You can buy it on Amazon Prime for $10 now,
and I can buy it on Amazon Prime for $10. So that's what I'm going to nominate.
or free on 9anime.
Kat, we're going to have you go next. What will you be nominating?
I just really want to go through another show that seems in the same vein. I'm nominating Sing Yesterday from here again.
It's not in the same vein. There's a big difference between the two.
I know.
Yeah, Sing Yesterday to me is higher rated on
Oh god, I should have brought White Album during this show, because Sing Yesterday for me is the White Album of Domestic Girl.
The White Album 2.
The White Album 2, yes.
Yeah, not to be confused with White Album, which is no relation.
No relation. Yep.
Okay, Jay, what would you like to nominate?
So mine, as of recording, isn't released. By the time this is released, it will be released. I'm nominating Blue Giant.
Yes, sir.
Okie dokie. I have that down. And Pete.
Yeah, I mean, let's just re-up Rakugo until it wins.
That should be soon.
I think it'll probably win this time.
I think Blue Giant's gonna get a lot of love.
Yeah, Blue Giant will probably get some nice.
And Girls Band Cry. We got
got some heaters in here actually.
We got three heaters.
We got three heaters and Sing Yesterday.
I'd also like to shout out Pete for doing the Twitter poll, which enabled the Gundam victory.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So,
hey, sometimes my show wins.
Twitter audience.
Yeah, sometimes it doesn't.
Okay, great. So with that, we are all wrapped up, and I'm going to give it to Pete to take us away. Take us away, Pete.
If you have made this far and you want to support us, the best way to do so, like, comment, subscribe, leave a review on whatever platform you're watching or listening to us on. I gotta get out of here before this tornado destroys my house. But next week, we're doing something. I gotta figure it out. But hey, an episode will be dropping the following Monday. Otherwise, if you were here for Watch Club, we'll see you in 2 weeks for Gundam War in the Pocket. Peace!
Bye bye!